Do Amazon boxes on your front porch make you excited too? They sure do for me. Hi, I'm Holly Lamb, and this is Lamb Living. Welcome to my channel. Today, I am getting a delivery. I ordered it, and it got here in one day, which is really strange. Usually, we're at 2-day for Prime delivery for Amazon, but it came in one day. I was so excited, and I pulled it out of there. Got a little, have you figured out what it is yet? If you know me, then you know that my husband and I love to put blow-ups up in our front yard. We have a big mulched area where we used to have a lot of bushes, and my husband took those out. So we fill that up during holidays with blow-ups. So you'll get to see this little cutie in a minute. It says, God bless America. I'll give you a little hint. And so we'll look at that in just a minute. Now, this is Sam's, and Sam's always gets their seasonal ribbon, and after a while, they'll mark it down, and they had it marked down for $3.75, so I picked up, a couple, maybe 6, and then Kevin called last weekend. He was at Sam's, and they had just a few choices left. I'll show you the picture, and they had marked it down another $1. Now, these spools have 50 yards, not 50 feet, 50 yards on there, and they're endless ribbon. This is the picture he sent me. They have been marked down to $2.75 for 50 yards. So I'm going to be using a lot of Sam's ribbon today in this video, and probably for a while. But I'm going to be cutting strips of 24 inches, and I'm going to be cutting them out of these 3 different ribbon patterns. I guess we have one color. We have the kind of blue, and then the large 2-inch ribbon, and then the 2 smaller 1-inch ribbons. And I'm going to cut lots of strips, all 24 inches, so they're all the same. And then I'm going to be tying them into a knot that said $3. This is from Michael's. I bought that on a clearance, who knows when. It was upstairs in my craft room. And I'm just tying one knot around. And if the knot doesn't look exactly like I like it, there in my right hand I had a little screwdriver, one of those little ones from the Dollar Tree, and I was kind of fixing the knot. I want the knot to look good from both sides, because this is going to be 2-sided, but I'll show you how I'm going to do that. But anyway, I wanted it to be flat on the front side, because I'm just doing that one tie around. And then I'm overlapping them, so you can see how they're overlapping on one side, and then the next one will overlap on the other side. And so you can still see a little bit of that gold, but I was perfectly okay with that. I thought that gold with the little mesh kind of looked decorative. And so I'm going to do that in a pattern all the way around. And then I'm going to be trimming it down. You can see how they're kind of overlapping, and all the knots are facing forward. That was kind of my goal right there. And then I could just continue on, and this really didn't take that long. There we go. Now, we'll be trimming them, but they have to be at least 24. For me, they had to be 24 inches long so that I could make the knot. And it was easier for my hands. I know I will be trimming off a good bit, but that was where I needed it so that I could easily make that knot. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to be that 2-inch ribbon, I'm going to be dovetailing with the V. And then the 1-inch ribbon, I'm going to be making into a dovetail together. So they're going to just get a diagonal cut. So the large one gets the dovetail, and then the 1-inch ones are going to get just diagonal cuts to make them look like they are a dovetail together. So there we go. Now we have the front of our wreath. Will be all finished, but I needed a backing to the wreath, mainly for so it looks good from the back, and I'll show you why in just a bit. We were in a Goodwill on our trip. We went to North Carolina, to Lake Junaluska this past week for Music and Arts Week, and we went to Goodwill, and I found this package of 12 placemats. They were from Oriental Trading, and they had not even been opened and used. They were $2, and so you see I'm folding it, but not quite in half, because the center is kind of thick. It's a circle, and but that makes me 2 separate layers in the background of my pretty ribbon wreath. and adds a little bit more texture. Now, I'm using my new Ryobi, it's a fine line pen, hot glue pen, and probably was my Sure Bonder would have probably been easier here, but I just got that on our trip when we went to the outlets there in Pooler, Georgia, and so I wanted to try it out, which it makes a real nice fine line. It'll be good for little small stuff, but this probably should have had the Sure Bonder. Anyway, I got it done. It's a great little fine line hot glue pen. So I have them all in a little pattern. You can see laying on top of one another, because this is going to show through, because I'm hanging it on my front door, which has windows. So from the inside, I wanted it to be pretty and look good, when we come through the foyer. Now, just like all the ribbon, I wanted the little raffia, or, this, whatever this is, to also have diagonal cuts. So I just went all the way around and kind of trimmed off the little placemats and gave them all little diagonal cuts. And then, just like you fluff a bow, these are wired ribbons. All of the ribbons there at Sam's are wired ribbons. So you still might be able to find some. Ours still had a few left. All right, now I'm going to make the bow, and I'm going to cut the threads of this placemat up till that circle, and I'm going to make it looks like a little bow tie. I just kind of fold it in on each other, and then, of course, I'm going to hot glue, and it's going to look so cute. Look at the little circle in the middle. Just looks like I've tied it. So I take off a little bit of raffia off one of the grass skirts from the Dollar Tree. I'll show you. I'm going to tea-dye these later in the video. But I take off a few strands, and then I tie it in the middle in one knot. Not very tight, just a loose knot. And then that's going to add a little bit of bulk and a little bit of extra texture for our little bow. And then it's going to kind of bulk up the bow tie part to make it kind of stand up, so it's nice and full. And so I do that. I put about 5 bunches on each side of those knotted raffia knots. And, of course, lots of hot glue. Now, I want it to kind of stand up away from the wreath, so I'm going to kind of bend it like this and then put some hot glue so it'll stay that way, and just prop it up on, I slowed this down because I wanted you to see, I prop it up on one of my little gloss Mod Podges from the Dollar Tree, and that just makes it stand out just a little bit, not so flat on the wreath there. And I love how that turned out. Yay. That wreath looks so nice on the front door. Now I hung it on the front door with a command strip on the back of the door. So on the inside of the door, you can see it goes all the way up. And then I have the command, just put a white command strip. And then I'm going to take a white satin ribbon, and I'm going to tie around that and kind of wrap it around the blue ribbon there, and just a little bow. And I trimmed it. So I didn't want that to necessarily be decorative, but I wanted to, take your eye away from a strange blue ribbon hanging on the back of my door. Okay, let's move on. Now, we've all seen the pink flamingos in the Dollar Tree. If you haven't, you didn't go in there during the summer, because they were in big boxes. They were hanging up. My Dollar Tree had them hanging by their necks there. So I have done some DIYs with these before, but I decided I had a few left, and I decided it's time to have some not pink flamingos in the front yard by my truck, which I'm going to show you. When I show you my flamingos, you'll get to see my blow up. I thought, that truck's going to have to be stopped for some reason, so it, might as well be a red, white, and blue flamingo crossing. And so these are tempera paints from Joann's. I found them on clearance, and I have a lot of tempera paints at school, and that's usually what I use on stuff for the stage. And so I'm familiar with tempera paint, which is similar to acrylic paint. Now, the blue and the red had fabulous pigment and coverage. This white, not so much. The white was definitely acting like normal tempera paint that I get from the warehouse for my school stuff. It's not as the best coverage, but works great on paper, which I'm usually painting paper at school. But anyway, so I put the red on, and look at that, one coat. See, that's 2 coats. That's 1 coat. You could almost not tell, but in person you could tell. Now that's got 3 coats on that side of that white. I'm trying to make that pink flamingo white. So even after 3 coats, a little bit of the pink was still kind of showing through, but you know, I just went with it. It was okay. Now to make it ready for outside, I couldn't leave it just with tempera paint, or that would wash right off that plastic flamingo when it rained. So I glossed it with a nice thick coat. Actually, I put 3 coats of the gloss Rust-Oleum Clear. And you can see it's nice and glossy now. They're looking very shiny, ready for their debut out front. And you're going to see that can of gloss Rust-Oleum Clear come back, because I'm going to be putting several things outside, so that's going to be real helpful. All right, so the legs go back in with a little bit of hot glue, no problem. And this first one went in, okay. Little glue goes down the hole. And then this last one, my 6th leg, the last one, would not go into the body of this flamingo. And I was able to, with my awl, I end up giving up on that and getting my awl out and trying to poke a hole through this. I didn't want to mess up my paint, so I didn't want to get a knife out or anything. So anyway, I ended up poking it down enough to where it was about 1.5 inches inside. I guess this is a defective flamingo, but it was okay. And honestly, the leg stuck out a little farther, which was okay. I was sticking in the ground anyway, but I wish the rest of them were a little bit longer. You see how much longer it is? Because I'm sticking them into my mulch here, and they're kind of, I would have liked if they could have been a little higher off the ground, you know. But anyway, it's hard to see the legs in the mulch, but in person you can see them. And so here's our little flamingo crossing, looking very cute, and they're dressed up for patriotic holidays, and the 4th of July is only a few days away. So there's my big truck. Look how cute. God bless America. Oh my goodness. All right. Now, I go up and down every aisle in the Dollar Tree, most of my Dollar Tree trips, because, you know, I don't want to miss anything. I want to keep in mind what's there. And I found these little plushy toys the first time I've ever seen them in the toy section. And so I thought, oh gosh, those are so cute on the side without the eyes. The eyes are kind of making me feel some way about them. But the side without, how cute is that side? I thought, you know, that could be, you know, cute for summer, of course. And then won't these make cute little candy corns for fall, which of course is coming up. I'm starting to think about fall projects, which is one of my favorite seasons, Christmas being my favorite. But I thought, candy corns, well, why don't we try to dress these little guys up into red and white and blue candy corns? And then when I put the red tempera paint on the top, the seeds still showed through, and I thought I liked that look because I can kind of keep it somewhat a watermelon look because it's still summer, but yet I wanted to cover up that little face. And so I used the white in the middle. Now, because it was a squishy toy, even though this tempera paint wasn't flaking off or anything, I thought it would be good to give it a little bit of extra protection. Now, it was raining outside at this point, so I couldn't take them outside and spray them. That gloss clear would have been perfect, but I used just Mod Podge, which works similarly. Now, I got out just some chalk paint. This is the Adirondack White by Folk Art, and so I put a nice even coat of chalk paint on the white section, and I got a bonus. They crackled. So I normally have to use some kind of crackling medium or something to get crackle, but the tempera paint stayed nice and smooth, but the chalk paint on this squishy toy crackled. So that was a nice bonus. Now this, of course, is one of the Dollar Tree, window clings. And I like to cut out my window clings so that I have control over what kind of border, because they all have a little bit of border. And if I don't want that border, I just cut it off. And at school, I don't mind the border. I just put them on my whiteboard or my windows or, wherever. But at home, for home projects, because a lot of these graphics are great, I like to cut it and do a little fussy cutting. And so I use the gloss Mod Podge for this one, so it's nice and glossy. And I did it for all of them. Now, I have the, kind of the crackled fun finish on the other side. So I end up only showing one of these stars, but, I have the option to turn around and show all 3 stars. But you'll see I've got them here in the hutch in the dining room, which I redid for the 4th of July. And there's one with the crackle. I mean, come on, that crackle I usually would have to work for. But these squishy toys just did it for me. So thank you, toy aisle of the Dollar Tree. I really like it. And then the star just brings it back to the 4th of July. And we've got some little watermelon. And that is so much fun. Fun little easy project. All right. So we're going to move on to another Dollar Tree project. Now, all of the signs at the Dollar Tree, as we've bumped up to $1.25, the signs they've been stepping it up and getting nicer, thicker signs, but I still like every once in a while to layer them and make them, double layered. Here I'm just using a flat screwdriver from the Dollar Tree and taking out the staples on one of my signs, and then I'm going to sandwich these signs together and keep the hanger on one of them and put them in the middle between these 2 signs. So now I'm going to have a nice, really thick sign with this Gorilla Glue. This is the clear wood glue that I get at Walmart. You can get wood glue at the Dollar Tree, and it would work just as well. I just was almost out of this bottle, so I wanted to use it up. And then to hold it real secure, I'm using my glue, hot glue gun. And that's the sheer bonder I probably should have used on the wreath. It works great. I love it. And so I have it set on the hottest setting, so I have time to manipulate and make sure that it is perfectly like I want it. And then I laid it on the counter and put a bunch of soup cans on top of it and waited till the next day to do this. So when you, and here I'm just sanding off where the staples were with an emery board. Now, when you put these together, they can, buckle a little bit. So lay something heavy on them to dry completely until that wood glue is good and sure. All right, this is Bunker Hill Blue by Dixie Belle Paint. I bought this at the Restore one day, and I love it. I love this paint. This is great. And I'm just kind of taking this dark color, this dark navy, and making it look like one sign. So if I had put white paint there, you still would have seen the cracks and crevices unless I had added a little bit of baking soda to make some texture. So to save me that step, I'm just using the dark, which goes along with the glitter beautifully. And so as I tone down this glitter, you can almost not tell in the end that glitter was even on the edges of that. Now, I like glitter, don't get me wrong, but sealing this in with the matte Rust-Oleum Clear is going to keep that glitter from going everywhere as I take my antique wax and kind of antique it a little bit. If I hadn't sealed it in with that Rust-Oleum, the glitter would have gone everywhere. All right, so now I'm going to take that antiquing wax and I'm going to kind of water it down with a little bit of my tea. I've got my cup there. And I'm showing you here what raw wood as opposed to the antiqued wood is. And then these spindles I got on a whatnot sale, and it was supposed to be 3 legs of a little stool. And then it came with a pattern where you could cut out the, circle and make a stool. Well, I decided I wanted just to use these spools for thread spools for some thread. I always find these big rolls of thread at the thrift stores, and I just think they look kind of cool and I don't know, antique-y, vintagey, I guess I should say. And so I'm going to use those in a minute. You'll see how I use those in just a minute. Now I'm just wiping it back ever so slightly, and the covering for these Dollar Tree signs is accepting that wax. I will put 2 coats on them with this watered down version. I'm just going to use it all up and get the America. And you can see the ties up there. I have painted that Bunker Hill blue as well. So it matches the edges. So I painted that ribbon that came with these Dollar Tree signs. All right, now I'm going to take full strength out of my cap, full strength Waverly Antique Wax, and I'm going to cover up that blue was still just a little bit too bright for me. I don't mind the edges because they kind of match with, you know, that Bunker Hill blue I put on the edging. But the letters, I wanted a little bit darker. So I just put full strength wax hither and thither. You know, I didn't put it on the whole thing. I just kind of rubbed it into parts of those letters. Alrighty, now to make a bow for my little primitive sign, I am going to take this raffia skirt. This is one of the adult size skirts from the Dollar Tree. And I'm taking my tea glass from yesterday that I didn't finish and my husband's coffee from that morning that he didn't finish. And I'm just going to get it all heated up. I'm just going to be baking this at 200 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and let it infuse into the raffia, and then I want it to dry in the oven. And the reason I want to dry in the oven is because when you dry it out in regular temperatures, you know, in room temperature, it's just going to stay this stained color. But if I force it a little bit in the oven and make it dry a little faster, then the tea and the coffee will go into the edges and, you know, kind of give it some dimension and make it this look a little darker and this one a little lighter, and it just is a little more random, which I like. So I like to force, you know, drying. If I'm drying music that I've stained or coffee filters, I rather bake them. And of course I sit right there at my kitchen counter on the other side, on the dinette side. So I'm looking at the oven from this, I'm facing the oven from this angle. So I would, you know, I just sit over there and kind of watch it as it's drying in the oven. I don't like to leave paper in the oven unattended. Of course, ovens shouldn't be left unattended anyway. All right, so now I'm going to get 2 bunches, big bunches. I'm going to twist them, and then I'm going to make my loops. There we go. And then take some zip ties. These are the kind of whitish, clearish ones. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. And I'm making the loops for my bow, my raffia bow. And then I'm going to do another zip tie right in the middle. I'm going to trim those off. And then I'm going to take another bunch off of my Hawaiian little grass skirt here. I'm just trimming them off. They've got them tied up there so I can keep it together. Yep, a little trim, a little trim. I'm going to do a lot of trimming. Okay, and then this one I'm going to get into a bunch, and then I'm going to tie it around the zip ties. I'm going to bring it around to the front and do 1 knot. Pull it through nice and loose. I'm not doing it too tight. I want to be able to see that knot. And there's my raffia bow. Okay, so lots of trimming. I even used some hot glue to kind of, you know, make the raffia go which way I wanted to. And manipulate it just a little bit. Now I'm going to feed a zip tie into the back, and then I'm going to zip tie another zip tie into it, and that's what's going to go on the tie. If I had just put that zip tie on, my bow would be crooked. So I actually zip tie a zip tie into the back of the bow, and that's how it's going to fix. Now, do you see that screw that's in the siding? There's actually 2 screws right there where I hang things beside my front door. So I'm going to, I just showed you, I just put another bow, a little raffia bow on that screw to hide it. All right, so here are my little stool legs that I'm turning into little spools, spindle spools for these big threads that I can always find at the thrift stores. I got each one of these for $1. And I couldn't find a blue one. I looked all through my stash, and last time I was at the thrift store when I was thinking about 4th of July, I could not find a blue one. So we're going with kind of a white one, an off-white one, and a nice bright red one. Now these knobs I got at Hobby Lobby in the clearance section. You can always find knobs. And so I just, you know, kind of made a hole there with the drill and screwed them right in there. And now I have a darling little spindle. Yep, they were on clearance at Hobby Lobby for my big threads. So cute. And I used 3 different knobs. Now Kevin took it right there. He was talking to me about maybe cutting a little piece of wood or finding a little piece of wood and making it into a standing spindle spool holder for a thread. And so, you know, more to come on that. We might do that in the future, because there, you know, it was a stool spindle leg, and so it's flat on the bottom. So that might be kind of nice. But I like them there on my dining room table in a big basket, kind of a rustic basket. Very fun. Okay, now, just a couple of little things to decorate out front. These little pillows have been here on the front porch. I have a covered front porch, and so they've been on here for since last fall. I found them at the Restore. They had them for $3 each, of these gorgeous, beautiful outdoor pillows. And so they're still going strong. And I decided I would wrap them with this Sam's ribbon that seems to go on forever. You saw I was just unraveling and unraveling. I thought it was at the end, but I end up with more. I could make more bows. And this one I actually had, this was one of those. I told Kevin to get me another one at $2.75 for 50 yards. That seemed like a great deal, so I have an extra one of these so I can tie it. Now, did you see I slowed it down right there? I tie it and I make the loop, and then I bring the other one behind the loop. And so I showed you there kind of in slow motion, and it always makes a straight bow. So you make one loop on one side and then bring the other side behind the loop, and it pulls into a perfectly straight bow. I cut diagonals on the bottom of the ribbon, and even put it on the swing. I've got 6 pillows over here on my swing. I need to make a new pillow for the bottom of that swing. All right, now here's more Sam's ribbon. I made this big pendant banner last year, but I didn't have bows for it, so I made some bows. And there's more of that ribbon. I made 4 big bows for my fence there on the side of the house. And then I want to show you these little cuties. I found these little firecrackers at Family Dollar last year, and they've been in the garage. We're just waiting for this moment. And they're going to go in that little urn there with the petunias. And so I found this digital download from Etsy. And when I downloaded it, it went straight into my Google Drive. So if your Google Drive is, you know, up and running on your particular computer, my computer knows my Google Drive. It went straight into it. I clicked allow, and it loaded it right in there. And so I'll always have these. I can use these at school and everything. So this will be great. I love those digital downloads. And you saw, I wrote on there that she had that on for 70% off right now. And I put the link in my description box. I'm not affiliated or anything, but if you want to go grab your digital downloads, she's got a real good sale going right now. I say she, I don't know if it's a she or a he, but they have a really good sale going on right now, that Etsy seller. All right, so now I'm making them into 1/4 of a page by selecting that on my print options. And it also came with elements. And so she has these little pictures. And so I'm going to make this one down in the More Effects. I'm going to make it 1/4 of the page. Now that's just a half, but there I go to 1/4 of a page. And then I can click print. Very easy. I'm going to print out the popsicles as well. I do the USA. And see, the S was a stripe. I love them. So I'm going to flip these over. I'm not going to do anything to the front. I love the front. That's what's going to be street side. But if I'm sitting on my front porch or I'm coming out of the front door going to the van, I want to be able to see something, not just white. So I cut them out 1/4 of a page. Of course, they would be big. They would print out a full 8.5 by 11. It would print out almost the full page. So you could have some really big letters there for larger, leaners or signs if you wanted to use those. Yep, I'm just going to tuck that firecracker in there. And I'm just going to use regular matte Mod Podge, my favorite decoupage medium, to put them on the back. And then I will be taking them out and using the Rust-Oleum Gloss Clear to get them ready for outdoor use. There we go. So they're all Mod Podged on beautifully. And a couple of coats to make sure that, this is not going to go anywhere, and they are ready to look pretty. I just put some raffia through the little holes that were already there from my grass skirt. Just keeps on giving. And then this will be the street side. They'll see the cute little firecrackers. Love it. Oh gosh. It's so fun to decorate for 4th of July. Such a fun time. Boy, it was hot outside working on this. I had to work in the evenings doing it because here in South Georgia, it is very hot. You feel like you're in the oven too on 200 degrees, but even it's not 200, but to me it feels like 200 out in the daytime. So we retreat to the indoors for air conditioning. Oh, look at my little truck. Oh, I love this thing. I'll put a link to that one in the description box as well. I ordered that through Amazon, and it's just the cutest. There's my little flamingo crossing. Hold on, big truck. Not yet. We got flamingos in the road. All right, now that leaner right there, I am going to add to my next video, which is going to be the 5 Under 5 challenge on the 5th, which will be Friday. It's a decoupage challenge, so I'll show you how I put that on there. It was really simple. So make sure you check back on the 5th for that. Always a great challenge and lots of great creators in that one. And so I want to thank you so much for watching. Please hit the like button if you like this video, and I'd love it if you subscribe to my channel. And I want to leave you with, look at those crackles. I just can't get over how that crackled on that that squishy toy. So don't miss the toy aisle in the Dollar Tree, that's for sure. Oh, so much fun. I want to leave you with a scripture. This is from 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sin and I will heal their land. Beautiful anointed words from the scripture. Thank you so much for watching. So I hope that God will bless you and your family. And so from the Blue House on the corner, excited to celebrate America's birthday. God bless. I'll see you next time.